So, my sister, to you, what should you do moving forward? What should you be wearing so you're not considered as abomination unto God?
I don't think that I will wear what I will wear.
Why not?
Because I feel comfortable with what I wear.
All right, let's see what God says.
Bring it out!
The woman shall not wear that which pertaineth unto a man, neither shall a man put on a woman's garment. For all that do so are abomination.
Oh, what?
Abomination.
Oh, what?
Abomination.
For instance, Brother Marcel, and one more time, Brother Art, Alvin. My brother, what's your name?
Azriel.
So, in the ancient times, what was important for a man to have in his family? What did he want his firstborn to be? A boy, right? Why? The what? To carry on the line. Mark, he's on point, right? So, it's important that the seed comes from the man. The man plants the seed in the earth. Naturally, you take a seed, you plant it in the earth. Earth represents the womb of a woman, right? So, and then comes forth the fruit, all right? So let's see who sets the tone here.
The book of Numbers, chapter 1 and verse 18.
Bring it out!
And they assembled all the congregation together on the first day of the second month, and they declared their pedigrees,
their bloodline,
after their families, by the house of their fathers,
by the mother,
their fathers,
the grandma,
fathers.
So the father sets the tone, right? So now we know that your pedigree, we all come from the nation of Israel. That's right. Tribe of Gad, tribe of Issachar, tribe of, where's your grandfather from on that sign? What? Tribe of Judah, tribe of Issachar, tribe of Judah, tribe of Ephraim, huh? Ephraim, tribe of Ephraim, the head tribe of the northern kingdom. So now we know that our Lord, our Savior, is a black man. And who did he come for? Matthew 15:24. Who did he come for? Did he come for everybody? Did Christ come for everybody? Did Christ come to save all nations? Did he come to save the so-called white man, which is not white? White represents the righteousness of the saints. So what they're saying is, we are all righteous, we are all knowing, you got to bow down and worship up. But white, in the Bible, in the book of Revelations, it says, white is the righteousness of the saint. But they call us black. Black represents void of darkness, void of understanding. It's the opposite. We are the children of the light, right? We are God's chosen. So who did Christ come for?
Matthew chapter 15 and verse 24.
Bring it out!
But he answered and said, I am not sent, but unto the lost sheep of the house of Israel.
The who?
The house of Israel.
The so-called Ishmaelites, who are the so-called Arabs today.
The house of Israel.
The so-called white man who is actually in the Bible, the so-called Idumean, Esau.
Of Israel.
The so-called Japanese man who is so-called Ammon in the Bible.
Of Israel.
The so-called Chinese man who is Moabites in the Bible.
Of Israel.
The so-called Hagarenes in the Bible, who are the ancient Africans, the Nilote Africans, the Egyptians, or Mizraim, they're who?
Of Israel.
So Christ came for the house of Israel and the house of Israel only. Now give me that in Isaiah 40 and 15. It says, okay, does God love all nations? Okay, and after I give you this one, I'm going to give you some laws and see how you stand with these laws and what you're going to do. All right?
He has a question. He said, are we preaching peace or are we about peace, right?
We are about peace. And we're most definitely we are about peace. We're about keeping the laws of the land. The Bible says, obey the laws of the land, hate no man, right?
Right.
We don't hate anyone. What we're doing is showing that you're the greatest. You should be on top. We're going to be on top once again, but there's a way that we got to get back. Are we on top right now, brother? Look at our neighborhood. Look down the street, man. Huh?
Romans 12:17.
Romans 12 and 17. Okay, we're not in power right now. We're serving the other nation. We're being taxed. There's taxation. We're paying taxes. Our money's being taken. We're in the hoods. We're in the ghetto. I traveled the world, and everywhere I went, our people were in the ghettos and in the slums and at the bottom. Okay.
Right.
But before you go, I want to give you. That's your wife right there. Friend. Okay. I want to give both. I want to give everybody a law before you peel off. All right. So what are we up? 40 and 50. Okay.
Isaiah chapter 40 verse 15.
Bring it out!
Behold, the nations are as a drop of a bucket.
So God is saying the nations are a drop of the bucket to him, right?
and are counted as the small dust of the balance.
And God's saying all the nations, because there's only 18 nations that he created. One nation, the nation of Israel, is his chosen people, his chosen nation. All the other nations, he says they are as a drop in a bucket. So if I got a bucket of water and a drop fall out, will I be worried about that drop? And then, or I put something on the balance and I put a little dust on the balance. A balance is a scale, right? If I put a little dust on there, is that going to weigh? Is that going to change the scale? Okay, so this is what God is saying about the other 17 nations.
That's right.
He taketh up the isos as a very little thing.
So if you take all the islands up, it's a very little thing. We're talking about nationality, heritage, and culture. Read.
And Lebanon is not sufficient to burn.
If you take all of Lebanon, it's not sufficient for a burnt sacrifice. If you take everything in Lebanon, animal, people, everything, and offer it up to God, he said it's not sufficient compared to the nation of Israel.
Nor the beast thereof sufficient for a burnt offering.
Before you go, I got to give you a law, brother. I don't want you to go not having a law in your mind, all right? So let's go to 17. Let's go back to 1 Corinthians. Let's give them that law. 11 and 7, all right?
1 Corinthians chapter 11, verse 3.
Bring it out.
But I will have you know that the head of every man is Christ.
So this is God's order. Young man, right here. God has an order. And this is the order of operation. Every business has an order of operation, right? Because if you don't have order, you have what? Chaos and disorder, right? Sister's on point.
The head of every man is Christ, and the head of the woman is the man. Okay. And the head of Christ is God.
So we got God, Christ, man, and the woman. That's the order. And then the woman takes care of the children and the household first and foremost, all right? So that's God's order.
Every man praying or prophesying, having his head covered, dishonor his head.
Remember when your pops, you probably brothers know, when your pops would go to another man's business or a house and he had a hat on, what would he do when he went into the man's house? Why would he do that? Sign of respect, right? My dad would go into a man's business or any type of a place. He would tip the hat, take it off. How you doing, kind sir? Right? So God is saying to show him respect. What?
Every man praying or prophesying, having his head covered, dishonor his head.
So when you're praying or prophesying, give me that in 2 Ezra 15 and 2. Quickly, 2 Ezra 15 and 2. When you're praying, before you go to bed at night and you face the east and you pray to God, oh God, help me, get me out of this situation, forgive me of my sins, my perverseness that I've done. You face the east. For a man, it says any man praying or prophesying, you have it as what? His head covered dishonors his head. You got 2 Ezra 15 and 2.
2 Ezra chapter 15 and verse 2.
Listen at this.
And cause them to be written in paper.
15 and 1. Yeah, 15 and 1.
Behold, speak thou in the ears of my people the words of prophecy.
So right now, the words of prophecy is this Bible. Who we are, what we're supposed to do, what's coming, because destruction is coming. So we're prophesying to you all to keep you from destruction, because nuclear fire is coming to America. And San Francisco it's on the map. We got naval air stations around. Those are key targets. So we're trying to keep you from being burned alive in the future, right?
Which I will put in thy mouth, saith the Lord.
Now go back to the second read. So now we're speaking the words of prophecy, right?
Yeah.
So read on.
2 Corinthians chapter 11 verse 4. Every man praying or prophesying, having his head covered, dishonor his head.
So who's your head? God, Christ, man, woman. Who are you dishonoring? With your head covered right now. Who are you dishonoring? I want to hear y'all say it. Who? Give them the order one more time. Listen carefully. Because us not knowing this is what happened. Us not knowing God's laws, His statutes, and His commandments. This is just a statute, and these are commandments. This happened. 1492, 1611, cargo slave ships. Jacobite wars, and we ended up on the slave ships here and sent to the Americas and abroad. 1492, sent abroad. Why? Because we broke God's laws, so He delivered us to the enemy.
Right.
Why? Because we didn't even get God's order right. Read it one more time. So we're bringing these things to your remembrance, right? These are simple laws that we can start keeping today.
But I will have you know that the head of every man is Christ, and the head of the woman is the man.
So who's the head of man? Christ. And who's head of Christ? So if you dishonor the Son, you are dishonoring the Father, right? So we're dishonoring the Father first and foremost. So all praise, my brother, you took your hat off. I'm gonna give you that one right there. I'm gonna give you that one. Let me leave you one more before you go. Numbers 15 and 38. Now for the women, you're already keeping the commandment because, and your woman right there is keeping it because her head is covered.
Right.
So whenever you pray or prophesy to God, make sure your head is covered. Now here's a big one for you sisters. It's a big one, man. I mean, this is a big one. All right? You got that, Deuteronomy? Okay?
The book of Numbers, chapter 15, verse 38.
No,
There you go.
pants. I want the dress code. God has a dress code.
22 and
Believe it or
5.
not, God has a dress code. Give me Deuteronomy 22 and 5. God has a dress code, and if you break the dress code, does royalty dress any kind of way? Because we're royalty. This is a royal nation. God has a royal priesthood. Do we dress any kind of way? Do the King of England, does his pants sag? Does his pants sag? Does his woman got tight pants and booty shorts and Daisy Dukes?
Only in the bedroom.
Only what? Only in the, brother, right. Only in the bedroom. You can dress how you, well, the woman shouldn't have no pants on, but those are undergarments, right?
Right.
So let's read this.
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 22, and verse 5. The woman shall not wear that which pertaineth unto a man, neither shall a man put on a woman's garment.
Okay, so Marcel, what's your name one more time, my sister? Francesca, when you go to the restroom at the airport and whatnot, and you look on the sign, the bathroom sign, what does that sign look like? How do you know that's a man's restroom and a woman's restroom? How do you know? What's the characters on the sign? What? Man. One is an image of a man and one is an image of a woman. How do you know that's a woman and how do you know it's a man? One's got slacks and the other one's got what? A dress, right? So God says, now if anything outside of that is called cross-dressing. God sees that as an abomination. He hates it. Is an abomination good or bad? Let's see. He says knock it off, but God uses a worse word than that. Let's see what God says.
Bring it out.
The woman shall not wear that which pertaineth unto a man, neither shall a man put on a woman's garment. For all that do so are abomination.
Oh what?
Abomination.
Oh what?
Abomination.
So he said cut it off, but God says it's an abomination. So is abomination good or bad? Is abomination good or bad? God does not want to see it. So when God sees a man cross-dressing with a dress, skirt, your Tyler Perry's, your Big Mamas, who else? Give me some of the ball players wearing skirts. He's saying, look at that ridiculous. That is an abomination.
That's right.
Now when he sees a woman with the pants on that came into being in 1865 under Gloria Steinem, during the initial woman's movement is when pants came on the scene. So we got thousands of years of our women wearing dresses, and then 1800s, late 1800s, here come the pants. So my sister, to you, what should you do moving forward? What should you be wearing so you're not considered as abomination unto God?
I don't think that I will wear.
Why not?
Because I feel comfortable with what I wear.
So do you know that there's a judgment for being comfortable like that? God has a judgment for all. If he had a dress on and he came up, we're going to get this Zephaniah. We're going to give you this judgment. So we can be comfortable, but when judgment comes and you start feeling, judgment can come in the form of sickness. It could come in the form of an accident.
Right.
It could come in some kind of most high, huh? Yes. Let's see how God, let's see what, now listen, now this is love. We're teaching love right here, right? My brother, God has a dress code, and the sister said, if you walked up with a dress on, right? God says that's an abomination. Tyler Perry, name some other athletes that you know that wear dresses. Huh? Rodman, Tyrese, who else?
I'm not sure.
What is it? You know there's a lot of them. I know I don't. I've been out of loop. Who?
Young Thug.
Young Thug. Tyler Perry. Those are abominations because they're cross-dressing. And with that comes the spirit. When a man puts a dress on, what's he going to do? He's going to start, oh, yeah, child. When a woman wears pants, she's going to do one of these. There's going to be two things that's going to happen when a woman wears pants. She's going to take on a manly, a masculine spirit, or she's going to take on the spirit of whoredom.
Right.
Why? Because what's the first thing when a woman puts on tight pants, Marcel? Said what? Try to show some stuff, right? Sis, don't walk away. We got to give you this. Give me the judgment for it.
The book of Zephaniah, chapter 1 and verse 8.
Bring it on.
And it shall come to pass in the day of the Lord's sacrifice.
Listen at this while you walk away. It says, in the day of the Lord's sacrifice. So when something is sacrificed, it's what?
That I will punish the princes and the king's children.
So we are the princes and the king's children, so we should dress like royalty. He said, I will punish the princes and the king's children for what?
And all such are clothed with strange apparel.
They got on what?
Strange apparel.
So a woman wearing pants to God is strange apparel.
Right.
A man wearing a dress is strange apparel. He will punish. He will put you to death. You might get hit by a bus, a stray bullet.
What is a nation? Nation is family. Nation is community. Nation is men leading by example. Nation is women's support. Nation is children with role models. Nation is